What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Twisted Life of TV. I am Poetry. You are here for another, I'm going to just call it another PNTV, and I'm probably going to do these every day until election day and probably until the inauguration, that I'm going to try to post something in regards to this candidacy that we have going on right now here in America. I just posted a video up this morning. Joy Reid from MSNBC doing her spiel about the Trump legacy and the coming to America age of his background. If you haven't seen it yet, I'll probably try to repost the link here once this video posts. I'm all out of data on my phone plan. You know, it's supposed to be free internet, free Wi-Fi, whatever, but I'm all out of data, so they'll slow my speed down, so it'll take it forever for my videos to load. So that may be a problem with the audio, because I know the audio was kind of bad yesterday. Maybe it's bad today, I don't know, but I'm glad y'all sticking with me anyway. So I'm probably gonna do a live stream tonight, so if you're able to join, come on through. I'll put up I probably won't put up a link, because every time I put up a link, when I try to go put the live on, something goes wrong. So I'll probably put up like a still shot and say, hey, it's going to be a live stream at this particular time. Turn your notifications on and look the hell out for it. That's pretty much it. But I want to talk a little bit more about Trump's vision for America. And I spoke a little bit yesterday about John Kelly and General Milley coming out and talking about working with Trump and the things that he said about he wanting his generals to be more like Hitler's generals, and he wanted his we already know that he wants to be a dictator on day one. He claimed it's only for day one, but if he can get it done for day one, that's all he needs. I don't think that a lot of the people that support him really understand that his idea of exclusion and his idea of putting people in the camps and deporting people and taking out members who may oppose him, I don't think that they understand that this still includes them. I think in his speech he did the other day, he said something like there's 181 countries just dumping their shitloads of people into America, and we like a garbage can. I'm kind of paraphrasing, but that's what the basic sentiment. And then America is basically a garbage can for accepting all of these 181 countries dumping their people here. First of all, nobody's dumping anybody anywhere. There are people who come to this country for a better way of life. Whether they come through here illegally or they come through here legally, they are coming for a better way of life. There are some people who come here on vacation and like it so much they just decide they ain't go home. They just overextend their visa. There are people who have had war and tragedy going on in their homelands, civil unrest, and was able to find safe homage or safe space to be in these here United States. And I like to point out the fact too that we are United States of America, and the whole Trump campaign, the MAGA, the Project Heritage people or the Heritage Foundation people, their whole purpose is to continuously divide us. Not only divide us among states, but divide us among people. Of course, people are going to have their likes, their dislikes, their quirks against certain people, maybe even certain groups of people. But when it comes to the country as a whole, we stand united as one. One nation under the flag, indivisible. But he is trying to divide all of that. I remember coming up through school that America was looked at as a melting pot. where everybody can come here and their cultures melt together and blend together. We share each other's experiences. We share each other's cultures. We share each other's values. In some instances, this is the America that I remember being taught about. Now, that's not to say that America still wasn't doing some fucked up shit. They owe a lot of gratitude. They owe a lot of retribution to natives of this country, black people of this country, people that they have oppressed for years on years and years, Latinos in this country. Because, like, let me tell you, California, Texas, that's Mexico. Okay, Arizona, New Mexico, that's Mexico. They came in California and changed the official language, which was Spanish, to English. And now that they try to remove English as a primary language to be taught from the classrooms. Same thing they are doing with the DEI, diversity, in colleges. They try to remove the history of slavery, which one wasn't even taught in its entirety. The way our history books was taught was that black people's lineage started here in America once they took us from Africa and brought us here, that we had no historical context or background to where we initially came from, which is why a lot of African Americans or black people disassociate themselves from Africa altogether, because they were taught that this is all they got. You know what I'm saying? And it's wild that so many, what the entire fudge? It's wild that so many white Americans cling to historical relations to countries that they've never been because their grandparents were from there. We have like the Italian Americans, we have the Polish Americans, we have the German Americans. Even at my job, there's a lot of Puerto Rican Americans. Puerto Rico is part of America. These mugs have never been to the country itself, but they still claim their Puerto Rican heritage. But black people, because we don't have a direct country within Africa, because Africa is not a country, it's a continent, but because we don't have a direct connection to wherever country we came from, we say African American as a whole, and then people still shit on us for that. We ain't from Africa. Like, people within our own community, our own race. I'm from here in America. We ain't from Africa. But we seem to have been conditioned that where we come from is not a place to look up to, not a place to revere. And according to Trump, any black country that you came from is a shithole country anyway. Africa, Haiti, now I'm gonna throw Cuba in there too. They shithole countries. One of the things I like to do when I travel is I like to go find the black part of town. And I often find that the black part of town is usually one of the original cities that existed in that country. But because of oppression, because of slavery, we were condensed into certain areas, overlooked intentionally by whatever governments that are leading. And I'm not just talking about America, I'm talking about in most countries. And made to feel like we're not part of society. So I know all of that exists here in America and other countries as well. But even people who come from other countries who live in these types of conditions, they come here to America and still find that America is a better way for them to live, mainly because of our democracy. Meaning that we, as the people that live in this community, this society, we have a right to select who is going to lead us in line with our values. We have a right to select who's going to represent us in a time of war, in a time of contention with foreign adversaries, in a time of peace with foreign adversaries. We have a right as citizens to speak about what we think or feel without fear that someone will take our lives. And what Donald Trump is trying to do is take all of that away. If you look at the dictators that he looks up to, Mussolini, Hitler, people of those natures, there's more. There's so many more. Putin, so many more. These are people who needed absolute control. Not over the country to make the country better, but they needed control over a country or people to make themselves better, to give themselves power, to give them this godlike ego that they so deservedly don't deserve. Majority of the time, these people lack compassion, empathy for others. They are very narcissists. And lots of time they have failed time and time again in life when they try to do shit the right way. So they con people to try to get things done. They take advantage of people to try to get things done. One of the things that Joy Reid's commentary that I posted on the board talks about his grandfather. Some bit of information that I didn't know because I didn't bother ever to follow Trump. I have never been a fan of Trump. I was never fascinated with his dollars, never fascinated with his towers, none of that shit. But his grandfather came to this country from Germany as a draft dodger himself from the German army. Or I say army, from the German army. And there was a point in time that he tried to go back to Germany, but the country of Germany stripped him of his citizenship. So he ended up back here in America. He is said to have prostituted out, I like to call it trafficked women for for profit. But he trafficked them out for sex, for profit, to appease big businessmen in businesses that he failed in. That sounds just like his son, his grandson. His father was a realtor that lied about his own racial heritage, the same thing that they're accusing Kamala Harris about, the same thing they were accusing Barack Obama about. But he lied about his own heritage. He said that he was Scottish instead of German, only so he could con Jewish businessmen into doing deals with him that he ultimately fucked them over. And he was very well known for discriminating against black people. Sounds just like his grandson, his son, right? Donald Trump's mother, both of these men also married immigrant women, same as their grandson and son. The rotten fruit, I'm gonna call it the rotten fruit, has not fallen far from the tree. Hell, it may be still hanging on to the tree for all we know. But it hasn't fallen far from the tree. Which brings me back to the point that I was making in yesterday's video about his sons being part of the Heritage Foundation and their own more extreme version of MAGA. They are the ones who crafted up Project 2025. And his sons were the ones that were encouraging him to put J.D. Vance in as the running mate. Somebody he had not vetted, somebody that has openly talked about him. How did they even become friends with him? Because it's all been part of a plan, all been part of a strategy to take over America. I am very curious to see what's going to happen November 6th. Hell, November 5th on election day. I think there's going to be a lot of contention and turmoil. This is why I'm still encouraging everyone to vote early. Now, I have heard some tales about mailboxes being set on fire. I want to say in Arizona, there was one that was reported not yesterday, day before yesterday. The postmaster was able to get the fire put out, and it destroyed some ballots in the box. We don't know if those ballots were for Republicans or for Democrats, but I believe the area in which they were found was an area that normally leans more Democrat. So they're going to mailboxes, setting mailboxes on fire to try to reduce the amount of ballots. I don't know how they're going to address those particular ballots, or if they were able to identify fully who those ballots belong to in order to get their vote and make their vote count. But I think there's going to be a lot of intimidation at the ballot, as it has been before. And I don't believe that once Kamala wins, because I do believe she's going to win. I told you I had a dream about it, and I believe that she's going to win by at least 15 points. I do not believe that when she wins, that it's going to stop there. You know how a lot of us are here saying we tired, we exhausted, we can't wait till election day happens. Get ready, because it's not going to stop there. And if it does stop on election day, when they announce that she wins and everything seems calm and quiet, just know that's the calm before the storm. There is work for all of us to still do. I know that TR, I hope you don't mind me using this, but there was a statement that you made to me that made me think of this point. She said that she had already voted early. Now she get to sit back and watch what's going on until election day, right? And I know that she didn't mean that literally, because TR is somebody that's very into the political system. Well, I'm hoping that she didn't mean it literally, because it's not the time to sit back and just watch what happens. This is the time to still try to mobilize and get people to the polls. This is the time to still try to educate more and more people. I'm trying not to argue with too many Trumpers anymore, because their minds are made up. They don't care what the policies are about. They don't care about the things that are being said negatively about Trump, because again, they're switching the story up for his liking anyway. They care about being part of that power grab. For some reason, it is empowering them to think that they are empowering Trump, without really looking at the consequences of their actions, without really considering the impact that this will have on the country that they love so greatly. What the fuck is you doing? Yeah, I should have hit you, you dumb bitch made motherfucker. Please tell me you're going to my job. Oh yes. Oh yes. I'm finna get off here. I'm finna go check somebody.